Welcome everybody. This is Meet My Friends. My guest today is number 11. His name is George Gilbert. Welcome, George.
Thank you, Maria. It's so great to be here. I enjoy what you're doing with Meet My Friends. I think that is a great concept for a podcast, and so I appreciate you asking me on.
Yes, I had to have you because soon as Al said yes, I said, well, then I have to have George too.
Oh, I'm the second fiddle. Okay, that's
No, it's just when I see someone interacting on the comments, then I think of an idea and then I'm ready to ask if he wants to be part of it or she wants to be part of it.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm honored. I was just teasing you. So thank you for having me.
I thought the interactions were very funny on Facebook, and so yesterday when I had the interview with he keeps on saying we, and then he said, well, it's George and I were business partners. I don't know if you know. I said, yes, I know. So he said you've been on stage like many times, 4,000 or somewhere around that.
I beg your pardon? Oh, yeah,
You've
absolutely.
been together on stage.
Absolutely. Well, not together on stage much, but my career spans since the age of 12 when I broke into my parents threw me into show business literally by throwing me on stage to be a stand-up comedian in front of 800 people at the Disneyland Hotel for a family fundraiser for firefighters. So that's where I got my start. But that story actually starts even before that. I'm going to go to this picture in the background. And these are pictures of my mother and father and their career. And if you see the one right up in the corner right here, these two, that's my mom from 1927, making her vaudeville, which is the type of show business back in the day, vaudeville debut at the age of 5 years old. Oh, so it's kind of interesting because, and then my dad, he started, I don't see that picture up there. Oh, yes, it is right underneath that, right here, right there. He started on a pole 110 feet in the air just a few years later. So they started working together and they appeared in vaudeville, they appeared on Broadway, they appeared in they actually played themselves in a movie about vaudeville. So that's how popular they were, and on television too. So anyway, they appeared with the great stars of their day also. And so you can see one from Frank Sinatra right there. He was one of the greatest entertainers of all time. And so I grew up backstage with them. And at the age of 12, as I said, my parents put me on stage, and I had been performing stand-up comedy for 24 years. And then July 2nd, 1994, because you said you wanted to talk about using humor in challenging times, and my organ donation presentations. In July 2nd, 1994, my wife, Dory, at the time, she was having a kidney pancreas transplant. And she was the 9th person to receive the kidney pancreas transplant at UCLA at the time. So I'm sitting by myself in the waiting room, and it was a Saturday, so nobody was in there but the other family who was receiving a kidney liver from the same donor. And I'm sitting there by myself in California, no one around to be there for us, if you will. And I made a promise to myself that day that I would, if she survived, I would do two things. One, I would go out and use my talent of getting up in front of an audience, a comedian at that time, but I would use my talent to persuade people and educate people on the importance of organ and tissue donation and why they should sign up to be a donor. And the second promise I made was, instead of doing stand-up comedy, I would go out and talk about the importance of using humor and laughter to get through these tough times, because modern medicine saved Dory's life, but it was the humor and laughter that got her to that point, because you can get very depressed when you're going through a tough time, especially a medical situation like she had. And on dialysis and going, just not feeling good, and you get really depressed. And I'm not saying we didn't have our pity parties. We did. I'd have mine, she'd have hers, and we'd get together and have a pity party. But the humor and laughter got us through that tough time. So when she got the call, we were ready to go. And so she got her kidney pancreas transplant. And because of that, she had none of the side effects that people have when they have diabetic kidney disease. No more diabetes, no more dialysis, no more kidney disease. Her eyesight came back 2020 with lens implants. Just a brand new person, if you will. And that lasted for 22 years. The kidney, the pancreas is still going on. And then September 28th, so we're just a little bit over a month away, she got the call for her second kidney transplant. The pancreas is working at the Mayo Clinic. So I have made good, it took me 4 years to do that transition from stand-up comedian, getting her healthy enough, stand-up comedian, to transition to speaker. But, and so in August 1998, I made that transition. So I've been able to go around the country talking about the importance of humor and laughter, but also about why we need more organ and tissue donors. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I remember you telling us numbers and statistics. I cannot
The
say
story.
Yes, so the statistics about how many people you can save with tissue donation, and it was a big number that I never heard of.
Yeah,
And it's just
absolutely.
becoming conscious that sometimes takes someone like you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, organ donation, last time I checked, it was about 113,000 people waiting for an organ donation right now. That's kidney, pancreas, liver, lungs, heart. I believe stomach transplants are rare, but they happen. And off the top of my head, I can't think of the others, but that's pretty much it. So by signing up to be an organ and tissue and eye donor, you could save the lives of over 58 people. So, and enhance their lives. So you could really make a difference in the lives of other people.
So the easiest way to become a donor is obviously when you pass away, but
Well, yeah.
What can you donate while you're alive?
Well, when you're alive, if you go on to donatelife.net, you can register to be that donor. So for the organ and tissues. Now they don't want you till your time has passed, but you're registered, and so that the medical community and family know that that's what your intentions are. In the meantime, you can give blood, obviously. That's not really considered under the organ and tissue donation, but it is still helping to save lives. And then you can also donate a part of your liver to someone, I believe, that needs a liver transplant. So there's opportunities, but the best way to do it is when you don't need those parts anymore, you've signed up, and they take them and save other people's lives.
I think it's a good way when you're mentioning to register, because I have a friend whose brother died very young, and he said they were in pain, and the hospital kept on calling to us if they wanted to donate some of the organs, and they were just bothered, by it, and they decided not to do it.
Yeah, and
I think it's tough for the family when they're experiencing the pain of the loss.
It is very tough. And now I think it doesn't necessarily require the family to do that, but it's always nice to have them there. And to think about it, if you're probably not going to save up to 58 lives or plus, but saving just one life is an incredible legacy for someone who has passed away. That's the last greatest deed that someone can give.
Yes. I can see that got stuck into me, because that time you did the speech, you had the Superman shirt underneath. So yeah. It's just like also yesterday, stories are speaking, but also the prompts we use and when we dress as the character and we play it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a reveal at the end that if you become an organ donor, become a tissue donor, save lives, and I open the shirt and there's the Superman. So save lives and be a hero. And that's into my speech. So yeah, that's my serious speech. Although we take that parts of that speech, the story of what Dory went through waiting for that kidney pancreas transplant and the recovery, and we take that drama from her real life drama there, and I show how we used humor to get through those tough times, you know. So I remember walking into UCLA, into her hospital room there, about a week or so after the kidney pancreas transplant, and I knew that Dory was starting to feel better, because for the first time in over almost 3 years, she was now more concerned about how she looked than how she felt, right? And she had a mirror looking at herself in bed, in the hospital bed. And I came walking in, and there was this kind of upset scowl look on her face. And I said, "Hey, what's the matter? Are you okay?" "Yes," she said, "I'm okay, but I'm ugly." And I said, "What do you mean you're ugly?" She said, "I have these staples down the front." And I joked, I laughed at her. I said, "Are you kidding? You're beautiful. You look like a Playboy centerfold. And they have staples down the center." So, you know, you have to find that humor. And then those staples, when it was about time to take them out, she was nervous. She said, "Oh, that's going to hurt, those big, huge staples that they're going to pull out of me." And I said, "No, they just go to Office Depot, get a huge staple remover and go pop, 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 pop." And we laughed. And you know what? The stress that we have is so much less than the actual pain. We put ourselves in so much stress just worrying about things. If we could just find the humor in them, the actual problem isn't stressful or painful. You know, it didn't even hurt at all. So, but we build that up in our mind. So that's where humor and laughter comes in, because laughter actually reduces stress and lets your muscles relax and get you over that stress, so that you can go out and face these challenges. Now, I'm not saying laugh and make fun of them just and as if they're not there. No, I'm saying look at that problem, look at that challenge, and laugh it in the face and say, "I'm not going to let you get to me." Ha ha ha, and make a joke about it that way. So.
But it is a gift. It's a talent what you have, because I can see what clowns go to, and sometimes it's like you feel yourself like a clown, and I can relate to that because of makeup. Sometimes you want to look good, but you're crying, you know, and the makeup keeps on running out, and you try to fix it, and the more you fix it, it just gets wrinkled, and then it's a spot, and then you can get rid of it. So I think that sometimes it's hard to smile or to do entertainment when you're going through tough situations in any aspect of life.
Absolutely it is. I've never been a clown, so I didn't have the makeup, but I still had that feeling. In fact, I remember one time down in California, my mom and I were doing we produced a show called the Nostalgia Tour, where we took a Dixieland band, a singer, and our act, and we took it to the different retirement communities around there. Well, Dory had fallen and broken her pelvis and was being moved from the hospital to a physical rehab hospital to help her walk again and that type of thing. And so we had to follow her, get her situated, drive all the way back, and do a show that night. Now, your mind is on your loved one in the hospital, and you got to come out there and say, "The show must go on," and have that smile on your face. Now, we probably didn't do as good as we normally would have done that night, but we did it. The show went on, and no one knew that we were having these problems. And then not only that, but we were racing to get there on time, and I'm walking in with the PA system for everybody, trying to set it up as the people are eating, and we want to get on before they finish, right before they finish eating, so that they stay for the show. And so there's all that tension, but you got to go out there and say, "Here we are," you know, and be funny, and especially be funny. If I'm singing, that's a different thing. You could put that sad emotion into some of your songs, and they really make become poignant. But as a comedian at the time, and that was when we were doing stand-up comedy, you just have to do it, tell your jokes, and as if nothing was bothering you.
I think we're going to become Frank Sinatra when you're in pain.
I think
If you wanted to sing.
yeah. So, but laughter does get you through those tough times so that you can do it. So we laughed at our own jokes that day. And you know, when you're going through one of those stressful times, those upsetting times, and you say, you know, someday I'm going to laugh about this.
Yeah.
Well, you've just pointed out that there's something funny there, right? So why wait someday, laugh at it, and then so you can get through that tough time?
It's like you can see yourself through it already.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes situations in life make us cry, but then when you look back, you're happy that that happened.
Exactly. Well,
You're
you
you're
know,
grateful that that happened in your life for you, but you didn't see it like that at the moment.
yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me, becoming a caregiver for Dory at the time, because man, it was miserable. We did use humor to get through those tough times, but in hindsight, it changed my whole career. You know, it actually made me do what I really wanted to do in the long run, just faster, because I now had this, not just a goal, but this mission, this passion to talk about the importance of humor and laughter. And so even though it took me 4 years to make that transition, um, it was the best thing to happen for me, because I you know, because my parents were old school comedians, I never really did great I did headline, but I never really reached that pinnacle of comedy clubs. They were just different to me. I'm a clean comedian. And at the time in the 80s and early 90s, everybody was pretty much doing dirty material, you know, or what they call blue material, and telling dirty jokes and things like that. And so I never quite fit in, but where the motivational humor, wow, I fit in. I've got the stories to show for it. And it's been a great, great thing for me.
So you coach it as well?
We do coach. Al and I created Next Stage Communications just over 3 years ago, and that was great. Now, I have been on the stage, or my family's been on the stage for 93 years, as I said.
Wow.
Having said that, when my now ex-wife, Dory, got sick, she has no family, and so I stepped up to be her caregiver, get her through those tough times, and I was even tested to be a kidney donor, to a live kidney donor. So you can give your kidney also. Forgot to mention that. You can donate your kidney, one of your kidneys, if you're healthy enough. Turned out I was a match, and we were excited, but they found three little things that if I donated my kidney to someone, to Dory, I'd only have one kidney, and these three things could cause me to have kidney failure and need a dialysis and a transplant 10 years down the road. So they just said, no, keep both of those kidneys so that you don't have to go through the same thing Dory did. So yeah, so when Dory got sick, I was just getting back up to full speed with the speaking, but I couldn't, now I could no longer go out and book myself to speak, because again, if I've got to take care of her in the hospital because she's in intensive care in the hospital and I got to be around, I can't fly to Texas or New York or Miami or California or anywhere. I got to stay there. And again, that old show business in me, the show must go on. So if I can't guarantee I'm going to be somewhere when I'm booked to speak, I'm not going to book myself to speak. But I did manage to do a few every year. So at least we've kept that streak up for 93 years of performing on stage or on the podium. So that's kind of cool. So Al approached me because we both had some mentoring clients that we had, and he said, why don't we work together, because we're both mentoring some of the same people. Why don't we work together and create a coaching business on how to speak for not just aspiring speakers like yourself, but also for entrepreneurs and business people who want to go out and sell their service or product or themselves to get jobs. So we've done that. We also started To the Point Publishing through that, so that if you are a speaker or an entrepreneur and you want to get your story out and create credibility, we publish your short book. We're not looking at, the complete works of Shakespeare here, or literary things, but opportunities to publish something that helps give you credibility in your field. And so we've been able to do that.
So with the publishing services, do you offer any kind of editing? Do you create the cover for them? What are the additional services that you do besides
We do
publishing?
some editing. You don't want a dyslexic to do all the editing because, that's just not good. But we do some basic editing. We can send it out to a more professional editor if there's a lot of edits to be done. Al and I both do share the editing for basic editing. And then we do create covers for you. Al's a little bit better than that. I do the back cover. He does the front cover usually. He has more tools to do that. And then we get you the ISBN, the barcode, and here's the difference. What we do, we give you the rights to it. So instead of some companies that do this, they will publish it for you, but it's under it's under our name, but we give them the rights to it. We put it on there. We do it through Amazon, obviously, and Kindle. And so we put it in their Amazon account. So once we're done, we don't collect any of the royalties. That all goes 100% to you, the client, the author. We are happy to get you situated for success, and then it's up to you to market your book, up to you to sell your book, but you also get the royalties for your book.
Well, that's really good for authors to know. Someone that is writing books right now, like some of the interviews I have done, that they're writing a second book or X number of book now already, and want to be successful and want to sell it. And a lot of times, it's not about becoming a bestseller, but it is marketing the book and selling in the back of the room and selling it any way that you can.
Exactly. Now, if you want to become a bestseller, don't come through us. Like I said, but here's the thing. You want to become a bestseller and you want a big publishing house do it. You have to get an agent to sell it to them. You have to get approved by them. You have to go through hundreds of edits and the process takes sometimes years. I know somebody who's doing it still on herself. She didn't come to us, and it's been almost 2 years that it should have been published almost a year and a half or so ago. Finally, almost there. Now it hasn't been published yet. So we're not here to make you look the best-selling author. We're here to get it up there so that you can back a house is exactly what it is, because that's how I make a lot of my money, is in the back of the house. I had 3 books a couple of years ago, and the organization couldn't pay me to speak, but they paid for my travel. They paid for my room and board and food, and I sold $1,800 worth of books in a 24-hour period of time. And so that's how I made that trip, and it paid for my mortgage, so we and that was when Dory was sick. So we do what we can do to make a living. I usually take a fee at the front and don't sell books, but there are those times when I can do a combination or just take the back of the house. So it all depends on how you want to use that book. If I don't sell it, I still mention it in a funny way to give me credibility as a speaker also.
I understand. So how do you do to transport the books? Do you send them ahead? Do you bring them with you? What makes it easier for you?
Yeah, well, this is the beauty of this. So when you get your books published, they are print on demand through Amazon, right? So you order your author copies. So that's kind of the back of house, if you will. And they usually generally cost whatever it costs for them to print it. So between $2.15 to $4, depending on the size and that type of thing. What I do is I find out who my contact is. I find out the hotel that I'm staying with. I contact them, and either at the hotel or my contact, I say, I'm going to send the books to you so that they're there when I arrive, because I'd have to pay for extra shipping or extra luggage because the books can get heavy. And the goal is to sell sell out, so I don't have to take them home. I still always have to take some home, but do pretty good at that. So it's an opportunity to sell in the back of the house. You have them shipped there, so you don't even have to worry about it.
Okay. That's a good solution.
Yep.
Because I was thinking, like, if you carry at least 100, just the weight of it and the hassle of carrying them around, and then whatever you don't sell goes back to you.
Exactly. So yeah, I just send it to the hotel or the contact and pick them up when I arrive. So that's great. Now, if I'm driving to LA, I'd probably just, because I don't want to have that stress of, are they going to get there on time? I'll probably order them way ahead or go into my inventory and bring a number of them with me, because it's no biggie in the car and I don't have to worry about paying for the shipping or well, I already paid for that shipping, but I don't have to worry about them getting lost or getting there on time. So there's always pros and cons, but if I'm flying, I don't want to worry about them getting lost anyway. And I don't want to carry that weight around either. I carry my own weight around right here.
That one is hard to get rid of, especially after you hit 40. I think after 30, but it's a little harder after 40.
Yeah, it is.
In my own experience.
Every year that same weight seems to get heavier and heavier and heavier. And again, right here, it seems to get heavier and heavier too, around my stomach.
Well, I see you exercising too, So
I have, but we are in this lockdown. As you can see, I got my COVID hair, and because I'm still responsible for the care of my ex-wife, Dory, and with her recent transplant, although we're almost at a year, so we're hoping they'll let up a little bit at the Mayo Clinic, but they really want not only her to isolate, but me to isolate, because if I get it, there's no one to take care of her, and I'm kind of her gateway to the world, if you will. All the food we order on Instant Cart and things like that from the grocery store, and they come here, I kind of sanitize them. I do sanitize them, and then I bring them over to Dory, and she even sanitizes them. So her whole life outside of her house kind of depends on me being able to being that liaison, that connection between groceries and her, and shipments of Amazon shipments again to her, whatever she's doing. So I take her to the lab work and make sure everything is safe, so that she doesn't get this COVID, because when you have a transplant, you are given immunosuppressants, especially that first year. So you have low or no, you can get sick real easy. I don't know where that word just popped out of my head.
The immune system gets low.
Immune system, yeah. Low immune system. Not only am I getting weight here, but I'm getting fat-headed here, where I can't remember.
No, you're fine. Your hair reminds me of my son when he was a teenager. I think instead of COVID, you should say my teenager hair.
Yeah.
Because when teenagers, they kind of try to hide their face because they don't feel comfortable with the changes. That's what I remember about him.
So what you're saying is I'm getting to that age where I'm entering my second childhood again. That's
what your hair reminds me of, second childhood.
Actually, I'm kind of getting used to it, although I'm worried about split ends now. When do you have to worry about split ends? I've never had my hair this long, so I know that's a thing.
There's always conditioners.
I'll be doing this,
Yeah, vitamin E, coconut. There's many options. I'm sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Avocado on the ends.
Okay.
But I think.
Why do you have avocado? Why do you have guacamole on your hair?
Well, it's actually a good mix. There is a mix I do for my hair. It has a banana. Okay. Honey. You can.
I used to eat those things. I guess.
Yeah, you can even put yogurt on your hair.
That's why I see a lot of people with long hair sucking on the ends of their hair. It's because they got guacamole and banana in their hair. Now I know.
You wouldn't believe the kind of remedies we do just for our hair to grow.
I see that.
I remember one time when I was dating my ex-husband. So I told him, well, my hair is getting dry. So he gives me this recipe, right? And it
Uh-huh.
was like egg and other items. So I put it on and I said, I did your treatment, whatever you said. He said, oh my God, I cannot believe you. That was a joke. I said, well, I did put it on my hair. It was hard to wash and I still smell like egg, that night. But he said,
Instead of on your face, egg on your face, you had it in your hair. Huh?
yeah, no, but he was serious when he told me, so I actually did
Very nice.
it. Tell us a joke. Tell us like
Yeah.
something that brings humor.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. I've been a comedian for all my life. My parents were comedians, and I'm a humorist now, but I don't really tell jokes.
Okay.
Okay. I tell funny stories or little short lines that are appropriate to the subject that I'm talking on. But if someone says, well, tell a joke, I don't have one of those things, ham sandwich walks into a bar and he says, and the bartender, he says, serve me a beer. And the bartender says, we don't serve food here. I don't do those kind of jokes.
Well, you keep a funny story then.
It's hard for me to remember those type of jokes, but I will tell you a couple of funny things, as I told you about the scissors and everything. So we have to laugh at these challenging things, and so I will say that as I'm getting older, I'm finding out things that we were supposed to have our high school reunion coming up this year. Now it's been put off for a year because of COVID, but when I got that original invite for my high school reunion, I said, well, I need to start getting into shape. And so, I got on the bathroom scale. One morning I got on the bathroom scale and I was so excited because I weighed the same as I did in high school. And then I looked down and I saw my stomach resting on the wash basin. And at my age, I went to, as you've followed me on Facebook, there are times when I will go, I went almost a year every day in a row, so I go to the gym, but this one time I joined a new gym and it was one of the more modern, fancier gyms rather than the one that I used to go to. And they had aerobics classes and everything. And I walked in and I said, oh man, I'm not dressed for these, because nowadays even men are dressed in
With leggings.
the leggings and more than that, but the spandex, right?
Yes.
Men are dressed in spandex. So I said, okay, I don't want to look out of place. So I went and bought some spandex. And so I went to that aerobic class, and I got to tell you, with all that stretching and bending and moving and everything, by the time I got my spandex on, the class was over. So that's what we do. That's the kind of humor that we do. For me, at my age, I'm beginning to notice that like romance, if you know what I'm talking about, after dinner romance, it's kind of like riding an exercise bike. There's a lot of heavy breathing, but we don't get anywhere. So, there's the humor that I tell.
Yeah, I remember one time you also incorporate humor when you said there was something where you said that your wife went on one day and you went on another day.
Well, yeah, when Dory and I were going through this whole divorce thing, we went to a counselor and they suggested we go on a romantic, once a week we go on a romantic candlelit dinner, so we tried that. She went on Tuesdays and I went on Thursdays.
So it wasn't actually together. It wasn't.
No, that's the best way to stay together.
Yeah.
Just not be together.
Yeah, I think it makes us laugh because we're like listening to it like it's something serious, but then it's not, so it catches you out of work.
Yeah, good humor takes you down this path, and then all of a sudden, boom, over here. You're not expecting that line. So it's the twist that you make, like you're going away, and then boom, you go somewhere else. Exactly. Now, there's some jokes that we'll tell, or humor that I'll tell, that everybody knows the punchline, but they laugh because they're like, I'm in on it, right? They know what's coming. And so they're laughing even before I tell the punchline. But there's some where they think they're in on it. And then you go left, you know, you take that curve and they go, oh, that's funny because I thought he was going to say this, you know. So it's all depend on where you're going with the joke and everything.
But you also personalize it according to who is there, your audience,
Absolutely.
or what impact you're trying to make, or what point you're trying to make.
Absolutely. More so as a speaker than as a comedian. A comedian, they walk into a comedy club and they can do the same routine. Just make sure you get the city right, because you can be in so many different cities and towns. Yeah, hello Columbus, and you're not, and you're in LA. You know, you don't know where you are. But, and you got to do that with the speaking too, but you're not always, you know, on the road every night, so it can be different. So, but you want to know what the demographics of the audience is. You want to know what the audience is there for, because it's when I do corporate conferences, that's what I specialize in. I need to know what the conference is about. I need to know what some of their jargon, so I can speak their same language. You know, if you're a high-tech conference, I need to know a couple of the gigabytes and things like that. And I'm just throwing that out there. If I'm at a water reclamation conference, then I got to talk about something else. Or if I'm at a health conference, I talk that. The material's usually the same. You just add a few little lines here that lets them know that you know what they're there for. And then you also, if you're smart, you ask, what is sensitive to that audience? What do they not want to hear? Because you could say something that's funny that works at something else, but you know, if they're going through an audit or something like that, or something sensitive or something in the news that they don't want to be reminded of, then you want to make sure you don't hit on those topics or those sensitive words, because you're going to lose the audience. And then the other thing is sometimes the most important thing is to be able to make the CEO, the president, or whoever the head guy is in the conference laugh, because quite often they're so afraid to laugh unless the CEO's having a good time.
Oh, they need permission like kids.
Yeah, so, oh, he's laughing, I can let myself go and laugh. So, you know, you have to be aware of all these different challenges when you go into speaking at a conference. So you don't want to talk politics, you don't want to tell dirty jokes or anything like that, because they are so worried about offending somebody in that. So it's a different type of humor than most do in a comedy club setting.
How do you approach an audience where people is very successful and they make a lot of money and they have a good living? How do you approach compared to people who is not educated or don't have necessarily the same life conditions? How do you accommodate to those differences?
Well, normally, as I'm saying, I'm talking at a conference, so they all speak the same language. Very seldom do I do like public presentations where you get a different demographics and you don't know who they are. Usually in that room, they're all pretty much they may not have the same education, but they all do that job. You know, they all work in the same industry. So basically, you don't have to worry about that too much, because they're there for the same, everyone's there for the same purpose, to get the information from the conference that they need to take out into their business. So they all kind of talk on the same level, if you will.
So how do you prepare the presentation in order for anyone to get it, regardless of if they're new to the company or how well educated they are or how familiar they are?
Yeah, well, I don't get into too much detail about it. I just cover we'll say the 30,000, you know, height thing, you know, in the air, so everybody can get it. I don't talk about too much details. I talk about, because I'm still giving my speech on how to use humor through tough times. And so the stories, the message that I'm giving is kind of general, but but then I tailor it specific to the audience.
So you make it persuasive according to who is listening.
Yeah, not persuasive, but just speak their language, if you will.
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, where'd you go?
Getting a power outage right here.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to tell us where people can follow you?
Absolutely. Well, I would for coaching, go to nextstagecommunications.com, and they can find out some of our programs. We have a program, we have different levels. We do the one-on-one intense coaching. It's like a 13-week program, but we also have some very affordable opportunities. If you just want to practice your speaking and your positive feedback, we have open mic night at Speakers Club, and that's designed for any aspiring speaker or entrepreneur who wants to practice their speech or their 30 or 1 minute marketing message, basically an elevator speech, so that they get it down and can take it out. And that is a 1-year subscription. And we do that. Basically, we did it once a week, but we've now gone international because we now have, thanks to everything, there's a good in something. And so thanks to the pandemic and COVID, we had to go digital. And so now we're reaching people from England, Spain, and Germany. So we now have opportunities twice a week for you to practice your presentation. It's kind of like Toastmasters, but it's just the speaking. So everybody gets 5 to 7 minutes to speak. And there's no evaluation. It's just a positive feedback. So what did we like about Maria? And someone will say, I like the way that she told that joke. I liked her sincerity. I liked the way she presented. And so you feel good about yourself. If you want coaching, that's when you come to us. And then we have some coaching programs. We have Storyteller Studio, which is the next level of that, where you get the open mic night. And once a month, we do a storytelling studio where we give you some tips and tricks to how to tell a story. And then the rest of the evening, you get up just like open mic night and share your story so that you can practice that. And so we have different levels. So if you go to nextstagecommunications.com, you'll find out more about those things, or contact me at info@nextstagespeaking.com.
Good. I see that people likes you. So the way I test people likes you is the first picture I upload of you, and you got a lot of likes right away. So I say, well, George is popular on social media.
Very cool. Very nice. And then, if they want to contact me about my speaking, I'm revamping my originally speaking.com, but it'll be up again soon for my after dinner speaking, my keynote speaking, and my breakout sessions. But right now I'm focusing on Al and I with our coaching. I love it. It's a passion. And right now I don't have to leave the house. We can do it. We do it now online. So it works great that way. And as far as me being a humorist, I do it. I've done it a few times now, but I miss the audience laughter, because all my life I've had audience laughter. So I kind of miss that. And so hopefully probably be a year or two before conferences come back, maybe longer. But in the meantime, we will be doing our coaching and occasionally do a keynote over the internet.
How long do you see this happening? Because every time I think you talk to someone, it seems to be longer and longer.
Well, yeah, and this one's different. So I've gone through 3 of these. First was September 11th in 2001, where the country kind of shut down and they were afraid to travel. So it took a while before conferences came back till people were comfortable traveling. And then, they said, well, we don't need to hire someone. We can have Bob in HR give that presentation. So it kind of made the speakers like myself a little bit harder to get booked. And then in 2008 and 9, when the economy tanked, again, they stopped kind of having as many conferences, and also they are doing in-house speakers. Now they don't get the motivation and the inspiration and the humor that they would get from me, but they're trying to keep their budget down, especially during when the economy tanked. This time is different. And so it's going to be a little bit longer this time. And the reason it's going to be longer this time is because not only has the economy shut down, but everybody pivoted to Zoom or some kind of internet platform where they can have their meetings. So right now, as you see in Las Vegas, where we're from, the entertainment convention capital of the world, the biggest conferences, the biggest conventions are for the next 6 months to year are canceling and going virtual. Even CES, the biggest one where they show all the electronic equipment, the new cell phones and the new computer stuff and all that, they're going virtual this next year in 21. So or November. Anyway, they're going virtual. The problem with that is they're eventually going to realize that our sales people that are coming to buy our products, they need to touch it. They need to kind of play with it. They need to learn it. You can't really do that virtually with that several 100,000 people that would come for that conference. However, it's going to be a while because other conferences where they have speakers, they're going to stay on Zoom. They're not going to hire professional speakers. Again, they're going to get somebody from marketing. They're going to get somebody from HR to do their speech. They don't need these extra breakout sessions that are more human interest. They're going to stay focused on exactly what the conference is there to educate them on, and then they're going to go. So it's going to take a while, I think, unfortunately, before it comes back. But eventually it does. It may have a new kind of form to it, a new way, and it's going to make the competition even more challenging. And so that's why you want to have a book now. That's why you want to have some social presence. That's why you want to build up your mailing list, because it's going to be different, and we're going to have to rely on creating, like Al and I at Next Stage Communications, we're creating programs online now for different audiences. And it's going to be similar to that for speaking at live conferences too.
Well, I think it's even honest, George. I was looking YouTube. I was watching YouTube the other day, and I saw that George Groban advertised a concert online.
Yep.
It's even artists, unable to perform, and they still want to get the engagement and I guess any kind of income, because it has to be hard. Like at some point you run out of money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really feel more for the entertainers than someone like myself who can pivot online with coaching. Even though they're going to do some of those, it's not going to be that successful because they need that audience to come and to the audience so that everybody gets excited and goes out and buys their albums and everything. They'll be able to sell their music maybe even better now online, but it's going to be a weird balance. But an entertainer like my parents, they needed an audience, and there's a lot of entertainers that need an audience. So hopefully sooner than later, I think entertainment's going to come back before conferences do. Business conferences.
Anything that comes to Vegas, brings money overall. I think if money runs around, it gets to us at some point, because anyone that comes and spends, give money for our workers, and then our workers to spend in our services.
Absolutely.
So it's just a change.
It is a change. Now, I'm not suggesting that they come back too soon. Mm-hmm. We want the entertainment to come back when it's appropriate and safe for not only them, but the audience members and the crew backstage and selling tickets or taking tickets. Having said that, we need entertainment more than ever right now. And that's what's great about some of these YouTubes and these memes that everybody's sending out. We need that laughter. We need to make fun of the challenge that we're going through, but we also need to take our minds off of that challenge through humor, and both can do that. I send out funny memes that I get to my friends making fun of this whole pandemic, like COVID hair and stuff like that. Yeah. But at the same time, we also need to get away from that. We need to get away from the news. We need to get away from the tragedies. We need to just entertain. We need some entertainment. In fact, it wasn't a pandemic, but during World War II, when they were doing the Germans were bombing London, Winston Churchill actually kept the shows open as much as he could, because he knew that Londoners, they needed that entertainment, they needed that laughter, they needed that getaway, they needed to just have fun and forget about that. And that was challenging because one of my parents' friends was performing in one of those theaters when the Germans flew over and dropped a bomb, and somehow it went through something and got stuck in a curtain and didn't blow up.
Oh my
But,
God.
but but Winston Churchill did his part to keep the theaters open, and so God bless these people that are online. Josh Grobens and whoever are doing these online concerts so people can get away from the tragedy and just enjoy some entertainment, music, comedy, whatever it is.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, George. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and the time, and I appreciate your kindness. I remember when I first went to Toastmasters, you were very kind to me. The first day you came and said hi to me, and
Well,
I remember that.
well, thank you. I
I
try
remember.
to make everybody feel comfortable, and especially in a setting that can be kind of intimidating and nervous, as a public speaking situation would be. And I just would like to say how much I've seen you grow, because you were nervous, you were, and now and just trying things, but you never gave up. And that is one of the keys to success, especially in speaking or show business. You learn from your mistakes, you build on it, you do something different, you try something different, but you just keep going. And that's what you did, and you have just really blossomed. So congratulations to you, Maria, for just keeping it up, and it shows in your talent.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your words. It is important for me because it comes from you, and I know you were our teacher. You know, just together with all these people that is so talented and so wise, and I have so much to learn from you.
Well, thank you.
And because I'm barely beginning, but this is the reason why I'm doing this, to gain skills.
That's okay. It doesn't matter where you start. It just matters that you keep doing it, learn from it, and keep going until you hit your mark.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, George. Send me your recording to compare it to mine. And
Okay.
if you like to edit it in some way or not, I usually just post it like that. Sometimes I just cut the beginning or the end when I'm ending or something. But
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty natural. It's pretty, like I said, it's just the way people is doing some interviews with any of their partners or coworkers or anyone that might want to get involved in connection. It's basically all what it is.
Really nice.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.